The courtroom was calm, but the tension was very strong. Everyone watching this case knows that each sitting can change the direction of the entire matter. And in the middle of all this, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer made arguments in court that many people are now calling a bombshell. Not noise, not drama, but serious legal points that could affect what happens next. If you are following this case closely, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel right now, because we are breaking everything down in simple and clear English so everyone can understand. The case involving Nnamdi Kanu has been one of the most discussed legal matters in Nigeria for years. He is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and he has been facing serious charges brought by the federal government. The government accused him of offenses connected to terrorism and national security. The prosecution presented witnesses, including operatives from the Department of State Services, and they tendered video broadcasts and other materials as evidence in court. The court eventually delivered a conviction and sentenced him to life imprisonment. But that was not the end of this story. After the conviction, the legal battle continued. His defense team did not accept the outcome quietly. They began to challenge parts of the trial process. They argued that certain procedures were not properly followed. They questioned whether the court had the right jurisdiction in some aspects. They also raised concerns about how evidence was obtained and presented. If you are learning something new already, please like this video and subscribe, because we are going step by step so nobody gets confused. Now, here is where the so-called bombshell comes in. Kanu's lawyer formally accused some prosecution witnesses of giving false testimony under oath. In simple words, the defense is saying that some statements made in court were not accurate and may have misled the court. This is not a small allegation. In any legal system, if a witness is proven to have lied under oath, it can seriously damage the credibility of the case built on that testimony. Think about it carefully. When a court decides a matter, it relies heavily on evidence and witness statements. If the foundation of that evidence is questioned, it opens the door for appeal arguments. That is exactly what is happening now. The defense is building grounds for appeal. They are saying that the conviction should not stand because certain elements of the trial were flawed. At this point, it is very important to understand something clearly. A lawyer raising objections or accusing witnesses of false testimony does not automatically cancel a conviction. It does not mean the person will walk free overnight. It means the matter moves into another legal stage, usually at the appellate court. And appellate courts examine whether the lower court followed the law correctly. If you appreciate this clear explanation, like this video and subscribe. We will continue to follow every development carefully. Now, let us talk about why this case has attracted so much public attention. First, it touches on national unity and regional identity. Issues surrounding self-determination, freedom of speech, and national security are very sensitive in Nigeria. When someone like Nnamdi Kanu is involved, emotions rise quickly. Supporters see him one way, critics see him another way, but the court is expected to focus strictly on the law. Second, the case has raised broader conversations about the Nigerian justice system. When the defense says a law used in prosecution may have been repealed or wrongly applied, people start asking serious questions. Was the correct legal framework used? Were procedures strictly followed? These are not emotional questions. They are technical legal issues that appellate judges must consider carefully. Third, the involvement of security agencies adds another layer of attention. When DSS operatives testify in court, their statements carry weight, but that also means their credibility must be very strong. If the defense challenges that credibility, it becomes a central issue. Now let us break this down further in simple English. Imagine a building. If you say the building is unsafe, you must show which pillar is weak. The defense is pointing at certain pillars of the prosecution's case and saying this part is weak. The appeal court will then check those pillars one by one. If the pillars are strong, the building stands. If they are weak, parts of the building may fall. That is how appeals work. Please like this video and subscribe if you want us to continue giving you real-time legal analysis in clear language. Your support keeps this channel growing. Another important part of this discussion is timing. Legal processes move slowly. Many people online expect instant changes. But court matters, especially at appeal level, require detailed written arguments. Lawyers submit briefs. Judges study previous judgments. They examine the record of proceedings. They check whether there were errors of law or errors of fact. This can take months. Some supporters of Kanu believe the new legal arguments will change everything quickly. Others believe the conviction will remain. But the truth is this: only the appellate court can decide that. Public opinion does not replace judicial decision. Now, let us talk about the wider impact. When a high-profile case like this continues for years, it affects the political atmosphere. Politicians are asked questions. Community leaders speak. International observers sometimes comment. Markets react to national tension. Investors watch stability. So this case is not just about one individual. It touches national conversation. It is also important to say clearly that legal representation is a constitutional right. No matter the charges, every citizen deserves a fair trial and the opportunity to challenge decisions through appeal. That principle is central to democracy. If you respect fairness in the justice system, like this video and subscribe. Let us build a community that understands law, not just headlines. Now, regarding the claim about false testimony, the defense will need to prove it. It is not enough to make an allegation. Evidence must be shown. They may point to contradictions in statements. They may refer to cross-examination records. They may present documents that show inconsistencies. The appellate court will look at all of it. Also, remember that the prosecution has its own legal team. They will defend the conviction. Thus, they will argue that the evidence was valid, that the witnesses were credible, and that the trial court followed due process. So this becomes a strong legal contest at a higher level. Let us slow it down again. What could change everything overnight? In strict legal reality, nothing changes overnight. But if an appellate court finds a major error, it can overturn a conviction or order a retrial. That is the maximum legal shift that can happen. However, until such a ruling is delivered, the existing judgment remains in force. Many viewers ask, does this mean he could be released? The answer is simple. Only if the appeal succeeds, or if there is a lawful executive decision within constitutional powers. Outside those channels, nothing changes. As we continue, remember to like this video and subscribe. Right? Share it so others can understand what is really happening beyond dramatic headlines. Now let us talk about public reaction. Social media has been very active. Supporters are hopeful. Critics are firm. Neutral observers are watching quietly. But what matters most is what happens in court documents, not in comment sections. This case will likely continue through different legal layers. There could be hearings at the Court of Appeal. There could be further steps at the Supreme Court depending on outcomes. Each stage focuses on law, not emotion. In conclusion of this part of the gist, the so-called bombshell is not noise. It is a structured legal challenge aimed at weakening parts of the prosecution's case. Whether it succeeds depends entirely on judicial review